Hello, students. I welcome you once again on this platform wherein we are going to discuss various topics in detail of semester 2 syllabus of environmental studies. In the last lecture, we have started with the third module of second semester syllabus, tourism and environment. In that, we have discussed meaning and importance of tourism as an important economic sector, and also different types of tourism based on their purpose, based on the general classification given by World Trade Organization. And we have also discussed various potentials for tourism development in India, particularly the natural potentials and socio-cultural and historical potentials of India for tourism development. Today we'll be talking about challenges before India's tourism sector, and if time permits, we will also discuss about national tourism policy of India. Before we actually look into the core part of the lecture planned for the day, let us have a look at learning objective for this module. By the end of this unit, we will be able to understand the nature and scope of tourism. We will be able to understand the concept of ecotourism, and we will also be able to understand different types and potentials of tourism in Indian context. Here, students, we have discussed various potentials for tourism development in India, wherein we have discussed that India is blessed with diverse uh, culture, diverse socio-cultural traits, various historical monuments, and in brief, we have discussed how diversity in terms of culture, economy, and society in India can be considered as an important attractions for tourism development in India, particularly international tourism. And we have also discussed that the diversity in India in terms of natural beauty, we have also discussed that India is blessed with diverse natural uh, resources, and also variation in physiography and climate across different parts of the nation, and therefore they can also be used as a resource for development of tourism potentially. But still then, if we look into the tourism sector of India, India's tourism sector is still in the phase of its initial stage of development, because besides having huge cultural and natural potentials for tourism development in India, particularly international tourism development, India is facing challenges before tourism development, and we are going to address these challenges in this particular lecture. The first and foremost important challenge that is responsible for the hurdles in tourism development in India is accessibility and connectivity. It It is needless to say that well developed infrastructure is required for easy and comfortable travel of tourists from one place to the other. Most of the natural attractions in India are located, and also cultural attractions in India are located in remote areas where proper infrastructure, transportation facilities are not available, and although they are available, they are inadequate, and therefore it remains a major hurdle in the development of tourism. We can give example of Murud and Janjira, where we can say it is a historically very important place which attracts not only domestic tourists but also the foreign tourists. But unfortunately, the road networks and infrastructure developed out there is not up to the mark, and therefore the connectivity and accessibility play a very important role in the tourism development. And therefore connectivity in terms of aviation transport, in terms of railway and road transport, remains a major problem in different parts of the nation. Aviation infrastructure is also in a critical stage. Fortunately, inter district aviation transport is now being developed, and we hope that the situation will change over the period of time. Airport facilities are not well developed in secondary cities and tourist destination, which is a major problem. Lack of infrastructure is also an important issue in tourism sector of India, particularly mode of transport that we have discussed earlier. Access to good quality hotels or accommodation facilities, roads, electricity, sustained water supply, sewerage and telecommunication are the important infrastructural facilities which are not adequate. Many hill stations like Shimla, which is very familiar to all of us, do have problem related to water supply. During the month of April and May, Shimla faces the problem of acute water supply, not only to its dwellers but also to the tourist visiting in this particular area. So the hotel are not developed properly, and also the areas where hotels are constructed, it also is responsible for environmental degradation to a larger extent. As far as amenities are concerned, India is poor in terms of making good infrastructure available and amenities available for tourists coming from different parts of the world. The inadequate infrastructure also affects the international tourism as well as domestic tourism. And therefore, there is an increased outflow. Although India has a very much potential for tourism development in India, but most of the domestic tourists, due to inaccessibility and inadequate infrastructural facilities, they prefer to go out for tourism in neighboring countries like Sri Lanka, Nepal, Singapore, and Thailand. Human resource. Unlike other economic activities, availability of skilled manpower is a major requirement for tourism sector. A specialized manpower is required to perform in tourism sector. May it be the persons required for hotel industry, for transportation sector, for recreation activities, for managing adventurous activities and infrastructure, and also the tourist guides, where a very specialized, skilled manpower is required. In fact, many foreign tourists, they prefer to choose a guide who can speak foreign languages very well. Unfortunately, we do not have that much skilled manpower in our country, and that's the major challenge. So trained manpower requires different skills at different levels. May it be a managerial skill, may it be a supervisory skill, and then skilled and semi-skilled workforce is required to be employed in tourism sector in India. Unfortunately, we have poor training infrastructure and qualified trainers to develop manpower or to develop human resource in tourism sector. The level of service as far as is concerned, the infrastructural services like airport, railway stations, hotels, travel agencies, tourist guide has insignificant impact on tourist experience. Has a significant impact on tourist experience because the kind of facilities that are available at airport, railway stations, hotel, travel agencies, or tourist guide, the people are influenced more than any other facility. But due to improper training and orientation, it leads to a great impact on the level of satisfaction among the tourists. Budget play significant role in tourism marketing. Recent trends show that tourism, which includes cruising tourism, adventure tourism, medical tourism, these tourism require to have specialized facilities to be made. But besides these facilities, we need to require to develop marketing push, advertisement, and we fail in doing that because we fail in marketing it in a proper manner. And therefore, India or Indian tourism sector needs to change the traditional marketing approach and should become more competitive and modern, adopt modern approach of advertising and marketing the uh, tourism sectors or tourism destinations in India. Then only foreigners will attract to the places in India. So that's a major problem. Unlike other countries, India is a high taxed industry. Huge amount of taxes are levied from tourists, and that become a very expensive tourism for foreign tourists particularly. And therefore, the service tax, luxury tax, tax on transportation, tax on aviation, and various taxes on transportation, even entry fees at the place of destination become a very difficult task or very expensive affair for foreign tourists, and then their budgets most of the times falls and they do not prefer to come to India. So taxation needs to be revised if at all we need to develop the India's tourism sector, particularly international tourism. Security. Now, it is a matter of fact that India and various important tourist destinations in India are always the target for terrorist, and most of the times terrorist attacks also, and also political unrest affects the sentiments of foreign tourists. They do not feel safe for staying at certain places, and therefore to example that 2000 November 2008 on 26th day, the terrorist attack in Mumbai has affected in long run the foreign tourist or tourism industry in India. And also communal rights undoubtedly is a reason by which people do not feel safe to come to India for tourism. And also the security of female tourist is also at risk here. Nowadays, tourism activities and tourism booking and so many other things are going on online. So online transactions are taking place, and cyber crime is a major challenge before travel industry, because there is a possibility to have frauds and cheating during these transactions by tourist organization, or people engaged in cyber crime. There are some regulatory issues as well. E-visa. India is recently providing e-visa for few countries. Uh, for inbound international tourism, visa procedure seems to be very difficult and hindrance, and therefore the provision or the procedure for getting visa is also a major challenge before tourists. And then um, that is the major hurdle why India is suffering from issues related to tourist arrival in India. And therefore, the other neighboring countries of India is competing with India as far as the international tourism is concerned, because they provide easy tourist visa on arrival. There is also a problem of food, because foreign tourists, they require to have a very specialized food they require, and then the availability of such stuff become a major hindrance in the path of tourism development in India. Women, especially Western women, get harassed by local men, as I told you, that they do not feel safe in our country, and that's the major problem. The recent problem, or the current problem of COVID-19 has affected the tourist destination in India most. Mexico is observed to be the most affected country by COVID-19, wherein there is a loss of 15.5% GDP in 2019, and India is at the lower level, wherein it's only 6.8% as far as the GDP is concerned. Now, if you talk about employment loss, you see that a huge amount of employment loss is being observed post COVID and during the COVID pandemic worldwide in the year 2020. COVID impact in second week of March 2020, you see that minus 43 percent is the change as far as the uh, occupation is concerned in India. So that's a major problem. As far as the tourist arrival, foreign tourist destination in India is concerned, Tamil Nadu is the top scored country wherein maximum number of tourists arrives, followed by Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, West Bengal, Rajasthan, Kerala, Bihar, Karnataka, and Goa. And domestic tourism, as far as is concerned, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Telangana, Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal, Gujarat, and Rajasthan are among the important countries, uh, the important states wherein the domestic tourist destinations are more in number. Now, looking at the national tourism policy in order to challenges and exploit the potential in India, uh, have been made from time to time. Major policy initiatives in India are taken up in different years, like 1988, Ministry of Civil and Aviation Tourism has been established. In 1991, tourism as a source of foreign investment has been considered. 1992, National Action Plan for Tourism was made. 1999 to 2000, Visit India Year has been celebrated. 2002, the concept of highway tourism, agri-tourism, and rural tourism has been introduced. The Incredible India is the campaign which has been started in India, and also in the year 2009, another campaign titled as Atithi Devo Bhava was introduced in order to attract large number of foreign tourists in India. If we talk about new tourism policy in India, there are seven mantras which have been given in order to uh, develop the tourism sector in India, particularly the international tourism. Swagat, that is welcome. Suchna, information. Suvidha, facilities that are to be provided. Suraksha, security for foreign tourists. Sahayog, cooperation within the tourism sector. Sanchar, Samrachana, infrastructure for tourism development, and Safai, cleanliness and sanitation. These are the seven S mantras for tourism development in India, which was given by Tourism Policy of 2002. Increasing number of domestic and international tourism was diversification of tourist product. These are also the important one of the important objectives. Improve the quality of tourist infrastructure. Tourism should be considered as an important contributor to national development. Tourism is not just only a way by which revenue can be generated or foreign exchange can be earned, but also it takes care of optimum utilization of limited resources which we have in our nation. Government of India has launched the international marketing campaign called Incredible India, and in 2009, as we have discussed, Atithi Devo Bhava, in order to educate people or local people with regards to the polite behavior and etiquettes with while dealing with the foreign tourists. So this is the uh, symbolic picture of Atulya Bharat, Incredible India, Atithi Devo Bhava. Some of the silent features of tourism policy 2002: inclusion of tourism in current concurrent list of constitution. Foreign shares are up to 51% in tourism projects. uh, NRI investment is allowed up to 100%. Focus on domestic tourism and also international tourism to some extent. Concession rates on custom duty up to 25% for goods required for initial setup of hotels. 50% of profit derived by hotels is exempted from income tax. Cruise shipping policy was introduced in 2008 in order to make India as an attractive cruise tourism destination in the world. In 2015, the new tourism policy has been introduced, and the objective was to increase the world tourist arrival and share of world tourist arrival from 0.68% to 2% by 2025. Tourism should be a major priority in national and political economic agenda of a nation. Coordination between state and union territories to drive the national tourism agenda. Focus on local communities and natural and cultural environments so as to preserve the natural and cultural traits. Create safe and secure clean environment for tourists. Focus on domestic tourism as a major drive of tourism growth in the nation. Focus on tourism development of Northeast Asia and also Jammu and Kashmir as an important tourist destination. Uh, India should be positioned as a global brand in tourism destinations across the world, and create an enabling environment for investment in tourism infrastructure from different sources, both Indian investors and also NRIs. The main focus of new tourism policy of 2015-16 was to achieve sustainable eco-friendly tourism, encourage the cultural heritage of different states, and also new trends in tourism with traditional tourism. create additional jobs in tourism sector, and also develop the tourism corridors in different states of the nation. So these are some of the salient features of tourism sector and sector in India. That's all from my side for the day. We will discuss rest of the points in this chapter in the next lecture. Till then, thank you very much. Have a nice time.